Blackmore.
Tekken, the king of the Iron Fist Tournament series, a beloved 3D fighter across the world. Have you ever wondered what the process was like, or more importantly, what the development team went through in order to motion capture all your favorite characters' fighting styles? In this new series I present to you all, now let's explore the martial arts retrospective of Tekken. With the explosion of 2D fighters thanks to Capcom's Street Fighter II, Sega stepped up with their own 3D fighting game which laid the foundation from that point forward in history. Namco had their eye on this market as well. After working on the light arcade game Point Blank, Yutaka Konoe was in charge of the arcade releases of Tekken 1, 2, and 3 during those early days. Harada-san was co-helping Tekken 3, but we will get to him down the line. My role was mainly to ensure that the original arcade version was actually fun to play. This meant I had to unify the different techniques while persevering each character's individuality. For this purpose, I spearheaded a tuning team to manage the adjustments. I basically set up and led a Namco version of Nintendo's Mario Club. I also created some of the character motions and things like that. Back then, it was the drawing of polygonal animation, so a specialized group working on motion didn't exist yet. The designers had to do it themselves. This is, after all, the early 90s. So motion capture technology was still in its early infancy days, meaning the team had to do everything by hand, which is even more wild to think about. It makes you see how much Tekken shook the overall foundation of Namco, taking a leap of faith with this project. Konoe further explains, essentially, we hardly used motion capture at all for Tekken 1 and 2. At that point, motion capture was just a developing industry, so we used a magnetic system to capture a portion of the movements we required. This was a method where everything had to be recorded with cables attached, and it wasn't suited to intense action, so we could only use it for reference. However, the promotional department leveraged the appeal of motion capture technology for marketing, and made out that we had used it extensively. The motion in Tekken was minutely adjusted to perfection, frame by frame. So even if we had used motion capture, we had to redo most of it anyway. There was a mountain of problems with the project, most of which were resolved by the wrath of the major staff members. There was a very fierce and passionate collision of game design philosophies. There was also a very low level of efficiency, and the amount of work that each person produced was huge. Consequently, there was an unprecedented variety of ideas. Rather than it being the creation of one designer, we ended up with a very bizarre game. The result of this was that unregulated raw materials were being implemented one after another. So the work of the tuning team became extremely difficult, having to retain the characteristics of each of these elements while balancing performance. With a normal development schedule, you make a plan that separates the raw elements so the differing styles and abilities are easily distinguished, and the man-hours required of the tuning team are small. With Tekken, designers were becoming obsessed with their own ideas and continued implementing them at random. This is something we call having too many cooks in the kitchen. Just hearing how chaotic the entire process is something interesting, meaning Tekken in itself was a miracle it pulled off the way it did. Tekken was designed with the aim of creating a game that was different than Virtua Fighter. We focused on unrealistic characters like Devil Kazuya and Kuma. So long as it was flashy and seemed possible, we would try anything. The whole team put in their best efforts to make a fun game, even with the low performance hardware we had. The problem was that Tekken 1 and 2 had large portions created by staff from outside Namco, so we couldn't control the project. With Tekken 3, Konoe had more control over the project during that period of time, which helped smooth things over compared to 1 and 2. Thus, meaning production was handled a bit better than before. Here we're going to go over some of the many different characters I was able to at least find with their motion captures behind the scene. King II's motion capture was supervised by Pancrase stars, namely Minoru Suzuki and Ozumi Shibuya. The crazy thing is the arm lock suplex used by Michelle and Julia was created by Suzuki as well. Orang's Taekwondo motion capture and some of Baek Do-san's moves after Tekken 5 was supervised by medalist Wang Su II, which is someone we've mentioned in a past video before, so I'm sure this is a familiar face to you all. For Eddie Gordo's motion capture was done by Master Marcelo Pereira, a Brazilian capoeira master. He stated that Namco has heard of him as a result of his 1995 International Capoeira seminar held in San Francisco during the time. So he felt incredibly honored to be chosen by Namco to represent capoeira in Tekken 3 during that time. And he also has claimed, from what we've seen of the motion capture done for Eddie, that was only about 20% of what he was capable of doing, because during that time he was injured as well. Now, around this time with Tekken 3, Harada comes into play with co-developing with the game. He wasn't the full director for Tekken 3. Konoe and another individual was still pretty much in charge of controlling Tekken 3. Harada comes into play for the Tekken series right around after Tekken 3. He ended up becoming the lead game director with Tekken 4, pretty much being fully in control over the project. And as we all know how the way Tekken 4 went, that game almost in itself nearly made Harada walk away from Namco altogether until Tekken 5, when he was able to turn it back around into the game that we all know and love with Tekken 5. And then onwards, it's pretty much set in stone. During the Tekken 4 era, for Jin Kazuma's new moveset Kyokushin Karate, it was supervised by the international karate organization Kyokushin Kaikan, led by Shokoi Matsui, and I hope I actually pronounced that right. If I didn't, I sincerely apologize. Steve Fox, a brand new character within Tekken 4, his boxing motion capture was supervised by the Yokohama Sakura Boxing Gym. For the specific boxer that volunteered for the motion capture is pretty unknown at this point in time. So I apologize that I really could not find that information of who specifically did his motion capture. Maybe one day we'll have it revealed. Some other honorable mentions of other organizations that helped during Tekken 5's motion capture era included Kensaku Maeda's former kickboxing gym Dragon Dojo and the Japan Wushu Taiji Kwan Federation, who are more than likely responsible for Fang Wei's motion capture. I couldn't find any more info beyond this point during my research, but this is more than likely the people behind Fang Wei's motion capture. Leo's Baji Quan moveset was supervised by Tetsuya Hatari of Kaiman Kensha, who was previously associated with Shenmue and the Dead or Alive series. Would you look at that? It's all coming in full circle. You had DOA and even VF involvement within the Tekken series. Ain't it beautiful? Another character you'll be surprised by during the Tekken 6 era, Bob was co-motion captured by stuntman Koji Nakamura, who's best known for portraying the characters of Ultraman Taiga, Dyna, and Gaia, and even extreme martial arts performer Yutaka Kanbe helped along with the motion capture. Now with Tekken 7 with its 3 newcomers of DLC, Lydia was motion captured by 7th Dan Tatsuya Naka of the Shotokan Karate organization Japan Karate Association. There's even a video out there on YouTube about it if you ever want to check it out. I'll leave it in the description below, so if you want to end up checking that video out. For Leroy's motion capture, it was done by a Wing Chun master that trained under Ip Man's nephew. Wing Chun is a style that has been long requested for many years over the Tekken series, so it's great to finally see it come to life. And Leroy, man, he is still a breath of fresh air of a brand new character design. Still love it. Chef's kiss. Fakuram's motion capture was done by two specific Muay Thai fighters. The first one is Sukim PK Senchai, who in the middle of the capture process called in Japanese kickboxer Naraka Yoshinori for his incredible acrobatic style. And that's it for today's video. So I hope you enjoyed this new little series I've been experimenting on. If this is something you would love to see more, please let me know in the comments below. I had fun researching a lot of this, so it was fun to revisit a lot of this and then find out even more behind the scenes with the Tekken series with this motion capture and just how the way the game was made. It was a fun process. But if you enjoyed the video, please give a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can stay updated of any upcoming content coming to the channel. And as well, you can check the link tree in the description for the Discord community link, the merch store, and all my other socials out there if you want to end up following and stay updated of anything that's coming out, or just to hang out with the community as well. But anyways, folks, don't want to take up too much of y'all's time. This is Blackmore here, signing out. I'll catch y'all later, and be safe out there more importantly. Peace.